Shannon, if you want to advance the slide.
Yep, I was just making sure the recording was going. Okay.
All right, we wanted to start out first with sharing out some of our successes that we've had the beginning of the school year. One of our goals for this year is to create multiple opportunities to increase cognitive engagement. So far, some of the things that we have done with the kindergarten and first grade half-day hybrid, so getting students in our building, providing the 50+ students in supervised remote learning safe place to be during the day where they can get support with their online classes. For our virtual students, classes are live every day. There's live wellness, art, and music classes for them to participate in. Our social studies is continuing to be fully integrated with the arts. Our first student showcase is coming up and it's going to be amazing. It's on September 30th and it will be virtual and you'll get more information to come, but it will be something to see for sure. And then our weekly engagement rubrics are helping us determine who is consistently engaging in their academics and where maybe do we need to focus some supports too. Some other successes that we're having are already collecting data and information so we know how to support every single student to make sure they're getting what they need. And we use a process called MTSS, which is multi-tiered systems of supports, and our PBIS, which is positive behavior intervention and supports. So just basically like looking at the whole child and making sure we have the information that we need to be able to make the best decisions possible to support their academic growth and achievement. Another big advancement for us is staying standards focused. We are now K through 5 standards-based grading. 5th grade was added this year. And our online learning platform, IXL, supports those grade level standards and helps students engage at their academic level for those foundational skills. So all of that has kicked off to a great start. Some other great things that are happening here at AAK. We are having we continue to have our focus on social emotional well-being. We have live morning meetings, so students are interacting with each other and with their teacher. They're taking that time to build relationships because the community is so important here at AAK and we don't want to miss any opportunities on continuing to strengthen that community and relationship building. We have remote learning here at school to help students who wouldn't otherwise not have a place to be with somebody who can support them with their academics during the day. We were accepted, we applied to and were accepted into the Charter School Institute Climate Collaborative. So it is a year-long program focused on trauma-sensitive practices, social emotional support for students, and increasing that overall feel within our community to make sure every student feels supported and has what they need to succeed. So we're excited that we are accepted into that. Only 4 schools across the state were admitted, so we are very fortunate to be a part of that group. And then we'll continue with our restorative practices and trauma-sensitive practices as we move forward this year. Just a few other successes. Breakfast and lunch are available for all children 18 and younger, and those are free of charge regardless of your family's standing. So that is a great benefit that feel free to take advantage of. It's here, we have it available. Please email Miss Jada in the front office and she can get you situated on that. But it is amazing that our state has offered that for every family. And students don't even have to be enrolled at AAK to participate. So it's a great bonus. We are in the process of all of our beginning of the year assessments and to give us the information we need to make sure we know where students are at and where we need to meet them for optimal academic growth and achievement. And our live e-learning classes are up and going, and our teachers are doing an amazing job getting those posted and keeping all students engaged. So big congratulations to all of our staff for making this possible. They are truly the heroes that have gone above and beyond for every student at AAK. So I can't speak highly enough about how they have really pulled together and done an amazing job making this all happen. So really we wanted to come together. Oh, upcoming events. How can I forget that? We do have our booster-thon. It's typically that fun run that happens where they're monitoring the laps around the school and the students take pledges. This year, we are still kicking it off around the 25th of September. You'll start getting a lot more information about that. This year, it's going to be a dance-a-thon. So students can, if they are in class that day, can participate here. You can also turn on and participate at home. And it should be a super cool program. I've been working with them and I love how they've made adjustments to make sure every family can participate, whether you're in a building or at home. So again, keep your eye out for that information. It will be coming shortly. We also have our first fire assembly coming up September 25th. That will be virtual, but we'll get that out there and make sure we're showcasing the amazing work all of our students are doing, as well as our student showcase on September 30th. So I hope you had an opportunity to look at Camp Read a Lot when that came out and how amazingly creative our staff was at putting that together, where you could click on our fun Bitmojis and it would take you to a teacher reading or a staff member reading a book. Our student showcase is going to look very similar with an interactive map that you will be able to click on and take you to different grade levels and their presentations. So we're excited to get that out on the 30th. So again, keep an eye out for that information. More info and details will be coming soon. All right, so as we move forward, we all know this has been a crazy start to the year with a lot of pivoting before the year started. Then we were able to jump right in. As things in our school, Larimer County, in the Northern Colorado area has continued to move forward, we have stayed in constant contact with the Larimer County Health Department, and we are ready to make some decisions of what this is going to look like and what our next steps are. So what we wanted to talk to families about was we wanted to collect information and get feedback about where you are in this process as well. We will be sending out a survey tomorrow with the recording of this town hall, and it's going to ask if you are ready for in-person learning or if you're going to choose to stay 100% remote. So we're going to be collecting that information, and we need it back sooner than later because that is going to determine staffing for a lot of different plans as we look at what is next. Our goal is that we want students back in the building, and we have gotten the green light. Larimer County Health Department has 100% approved our plan and all the safety precautions that we have taken. So we are looking at an in-person learning 4 days a week schedule. So it would be Monday through Thursday, 8:15 to 3:20 in-person learning. Fridays, however, would continue to be 100% remote for students. So there would still be online learning opportunities for students on Fridays. We also will continue to offer that 100% virtual learning. So if you're choosing 100% remote currently, you still have that option to continue on 100% remotely. We are looking at this moving forward, like towards the beginning of October, but no later than October 19th is when we would like to see this happen. Again, the sooner we get back information to help us make the decisions based on staffing, whether people are going to be choosing in person or remote, will determine some of those dates as well. At this time, we will not, however, be offering the extended day programming just yet. We feel that we want to make sure, as we have done, like since the beginning of the year, that we are up and running and we are able to continue to move forward. We don't want to be in a position where we're rolling something out and then have to take it back. Again, we wanted to honor the time and effort it takes to make your daily schedule work with school, with remote learning, with hybrid, with everything we all have going on. We want to be able, if we say this is how we're going to move forward, we want to be able to make sure we can implement that instead of going 2 weeks with extended day and then having to pull back. So that is one reason why we are holding off on the extended day programming as of right now. I just wanted to reiterate that we will continue to follow all health and safety protocols with Larimer County. And again, they have viewed our plan. They've seen the maps of our classrooms, the social distancing that is currently occurring and will stay in place. And it has been approved to go ahead and move forward with in-person learning. So where we are right now is I would like questions, feedback. You can put them in the chat. You can unmute yourself and be able to ask them. Again, we will be sending out the survey with this town hall tomorrow, and then we are going to be making a final decision on this plan. We'll send that out this week, Friday, September 18th. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and open it up. So feel free to ask away. All right, go ahead.
Hello, I have a question.
Okay.
If we choose to stay remote now, when the new semester starts after the holidays in January, will we have an opportunity to come to school then?
Yeah, we are looking at opening up at those natural breaks, such as semester. It will be space-based at this point. Like if we had the room, absolutely. And so we are like providing ourselves some of those buffers to be able to have that option at the semester break.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what the classrooms will look like. So you're saying that you'll go with the health standards, and I'm just wondering what that means at this next stage.
Sure. So desks within the classroom are all spaced a minimum of 4 feet apart. And students like basically like they kind of have like taped off little areas where that's kind of their spot to be while they're at their desk. We have seating charts that are in place in every single classroom. So we know who's where at any point in time. Students do wear masks while they are at their desk currently. And we also have at the front of the classroom a 6-foot area where the teacher would be able to stand and teach, and when needed, be able to remove their mask and be 6 feet away from the nearest student to be able, you know, like if you're doing phonics or something where there needs to be clear pronunciation, like you would have that opportunity at that point in time, and then they would put their mask back on. Students are eating currently at their desk, but also have the opportunity to go out for recess and have mass breaks and go on walks and some of those additional times throughout the day. Does that kind of answer your question about what that looks like?
Yeah, that's great. I was just wondering with more students in the classroom, what that would look like. And also thinking about my kids being in masks all day, 4 days a week is kind of a bummer, but I know that I'm just wondering if like that might change as well as the health and safety say that it's okay.
That very well could change. Again, we'll continue to follow Larimer County's guidelines, and theirs have been more strict than like state guidelines. And so we've always go with the more restrictive guidelines because we want to make sure we're being especially safe and cautious and doing what we need to be doing. I can tell you, like seeing so many kids in the building on a daily basis, the masks have not been nearly the issue that I thought they would be. Even like the kids have done an amazing job. And like every once in a while, they'll be like, oh, I can't wait to be back in school without a mask. But overall, they're like, oh, I need my mask. I'm going to go wash my hands, or I'm doing this. Like they've done a way better job of it than that I ever expected.
Okay, I have one more question about the mask. My other son goes to a school where he's able to wear the mask that, you know, comes down as more of a shield. And I'm wondering, I've been told that no, yes, they can, or no, they can't here at AAK. So I'm wondering what the real is on that.
That's a very good question. We do have those provided for students if they want them. However, the health department has still repeatedly told us like it does not replace a mask. So like they can have it on and it's another barrier. It works well like if you're going to be doing like some short-term instruction with your mask off, the teacher will wear that in the front of the classroom many times to be able, again, like so students can see their mouth. But we at this time we're still being told from the health department it does not replace wearing a mask.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Do you mind if we go to the chat real quick? I think that question came in first from Danielle Vernelson. She asked, what will the in-person learning look like? Will kids
Okay.
move between classrooms or will specials teachers come to them? How will lunch work?
Okay. Yep, we will jump right into this one. So in person, kids will stay in their classroom for the other than like recesses and mass breaks, students will be in their classrooms. At this time, we do not feel comfortable in any way offering normal special schedules throughout the week for in-person learning. It's too hard, like with the contact tracing, as well as putting teachers in a position where they're not only in contact with one grade level, they're in contact with multiple grade levels. So we are still looking at how creative we can be with specials. I think that we have some good plans in place that there would still be virtual live specials times where students can engage and still do many of the activities, as well as taking some of this time for us to really create that robust arts integrated curriculum. I feel like this year like provides us the opportunity to really take that above and beyond where it has been, which is really exciting. And then looking at how teachers who aren't teaching in a classroom can really help support that remote learning. So students who are doing 100% remote are still getting a very robust, engaging education.
Okay, that makes sense. I've heard of other schools that do like video for the specials and it seems to be pretty successful. So I think that's a great idea.
Okay, great. Yeah, and again, like lunch would just still be in the classroom at this point in time, as well as breakfast. And we've currently been doing that with our supervised remote learners, and it has not been an issue. All right. And then one more question just came in. Oh, I think you were wanting to ask this one earlier. Will remote learning look the same if we choose to continue with virtual? It will look very similar. We will have to make a few adjustments as far as like live meetings and stuff. The teachers would already be with in-person learning. We've tried some of those scenarios like with kinder, and taking it from theory into practice didn't work nearly as well as we thought it would. But we're still, I don't take anything off the table with this group of teachers. They're so extremely creative and like willing to see like what things do, how that does play out. So I would say virtual learning will look very similar, but there will definitely be some changes to it.
And I think to piggyback on that, what we're seeing on our end is some of the frustrations of the teachers trying to learn this new mode of teaching. And so moving forward with the full in-person, we're also having staff to help dedicate to the virtual learning. So a teacher is not going to, we're not going to be asking them to do 2 full-time jobs. So we'll also have dedicated virtual learning assistants at each grade level as well to help out with that.
So would that continue then through like the Google Classrooms like it is now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the formats would not change.
Yeah.
I think just learning what we have in place currently Like
Mhm.
that's a lot. It's a lot to figure out and how to log in and where to go and what to click. And
Right.
so we want to keep all that as consistent as possible. There'll just be added support within
Okay.
that Google Classroom environment.
Yeah, because it's to put an analogy to it, it's kind of like we're flying the plane as we build it. So
Yes.
I get it. I'm starting to get used to how to turn in assignments and go through the Google Classroom and all of that.
Yeah, like
So
don't change it.
please don't change it too drastic.
No, that wouldn't look any different. So the format of it wouldn't look any different. I think a few of the classes may look a little bit different. And like I said, morning meeting would be one of the bigger things that would change, but we don't want to lose that connection with our remote learners. So again, we have big
Correct.
grief about when can we offer a morning meeting so we
Right.
continue to build that community. Because again, like what's the best thing about AAK is the community and the relationships. Like we don't want to
Right.
lose that. So we just have to be super creative in how that happens.
Okay.
A question just came in. Can a child ask for a mask break at any time? Yes, a student can ask for a mask break, and we've already had that in place with students who are in our building. They'll be like, I need a break, like I need to step out, like I need to take this off for a few minutes, and we definitely honor that. And so that has been like so far been really successful. And again, like even like let's just go for a walk, like let's get outside. We've even talked about having the walking field trip forms signed by parents so we can actually go and like walk, you know, even outside more than just out to front to the parking lot. Like there's a lot of learning. We live in a beautiful spot where we can take advantage of the outdoors and build that into our curriculum and what's happening in class. And that also provides other opportunities to take a mask off. And we want to honor that and do that as much as possible.
I think too, to piggyback again on, you know, something that Nicole mentioned earlier is a focus for us as for social emotional learning is, you know, we know, you know, how adults are feeling through all of this. And so to be a child and experience this all too, and not have the tools that we do, you know, as a school and a community, we really need to focus on that mental well-being of our kids and recognizing when they need a break and when they need to go for a walk and just spend some outside time. And so definitely in all of this planning, the mental well-being of our community is at the forefront as well.
Another question that I had, I'm sure you said this, but I'm sorry, I don't remember. When do we have to decide by if we want to go to the in-person learning or stay remote? Is there a set date that we need to decide that by?
We do not have a set date on that. Again, we will have to close it eventually, because the
Right.
sooner we have this information, that plays into our staffing plan, because we want to make sure we're staffed in every area we need to be staffed. And so like it does come down to like the quicker the turnaround, the better.
Right.
So Shannon, I don't know if you want to speak to that as well.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll send out that survey. That will be an initial survey. It won't be binding, so we can get an idea of what it's looking like for our staffing. And then
Okay.
we don't expect you as parents to make a decision without seeing our final plan and start date. And so once we publish that by Friday, we'll probably have a week where you make your decision
Okay.
after that.
Okay. And then once we make that decision, is that pretty hard and fast until the start of the next semester?
It will be depending on space. So, you know, our classrooms can only fit, depending on the classroom, you know, 15 to 18 kids. And so that will be the constraint that we have is space.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Another great question came in. As the school year moves on, a child is likely to be under the weather. What is the process to return to school? That's a great question. And like, even for those of you who have been bringing your students, we so appreciate having the health screener done and everybody being so honest with that those protocols is what is keeping everybody safe and is helping this year be so successful. So yeah, kids are going to get sick. like we all are. There's always colds and everything to be had. And we have this information. Thank you, Shannon, for putting it up. It is a guide, and we will repost that about when to stay home, when you can come to school, and the time. It goes back to what we have always done too. Like, you have to be symptom free. 24 hours symptom free with no use of any type of fever reducing medicine. And so those are still being followed. I think another great thing that the health department has put in place is we have specific go-to people. So when any questions come up, we can instantly text, call, email a specific person at the health department, and we get an immediate response back. And that really helps guide too, to keep those communications open and to make sure we all have a good understanding of what best practices are if somebody is sick.
So we can send this out in a Dragon Mail, and I believe we have before as well, but this is kind of the guidance that we use and that we send out to parents as well, that has a very, very thorough kind of step-by-step for sicknesses, whether it's the flu or COVID-like symptoms, things like that, that we follow. And we share this guidance with anytime a parent that has a student that is sick or has symptoms. So we will rely very much on our parent community to make sure you're not bringing your kid to school, whether if they have any symptoms at all, and waiting for them to be symptom free for 24 hours.
All right, so I'm trying to keep up on the chat, so bear with us for a minute. Yeah, so 15 to 18 kids per class. Would priority be given to those kids already in the supervised remote learning program? We already know for sure that we have a good amount of space for all students. So being in the supervised remote learning program, we would assume, like, if you've already been in our building, that you would be wanting in person instead of moving from remote to in person. So we have room for the supervised remote learning students, and we also have room for students who have been 100% remote but would like to come back into the building. So currently we do have that space available for our community. So that is not a worry at this point. If all students will return in person, will a second teacher be added to the 4th grade? Yes, we have already talked about what that will look like for the 4th and 5th grades, and we already have an amazing individual that we are thinking would be able to step right into that position. So yes, those conversations have occurred because that is a very large grade, and we want to make sure all kids get what they need in 4th grade, and that definitely plays into it. Next question, is the goal to go back Fridays as well, or will Fridays remain virtual all year? We really can't speak to all year at this point in time. I would love to be able to make a decision and say this is it for the rest of the year, but unfortunately we can't. I can say, like, going forward, like, this is what it would be through the semester. So we can again roll this out, then look at adding EDP and take those steps, as well as one of the reasons for not having Fridays is without having specials classes, the wellness, art, and PE, it's really hard to give our teachers the needed plan time during the school day that they need and deserve to be the most effective teachers they can be. And so we have to look at what we can do to help support our teachers to continue with their mental well-being and professional well-being, and having Fridays to include some of that plan time. Actually, most of Friday is plan time for them, is how they're able to maintain really high levels of education for every student. And that is a top priority for us. So at this point in time, Fridays will be virtual, but again, I can't speak to all year. I don't know what that will continue to look like. If we have to return to full remote, how will that transition look? If when the kids return, will they continue to use Google Classroom so the transition would be easier? Yes, we would continue to use the same formats. So if we did end up transitioning to remote, which I mean, is a possibility that that could happen throughout the year. It would just go back to the teachers being online, same logins, same Google Classrooms, same IXL logins, all of that would remain the same. Yep, again, we want to keep that piece as simple as possible. Like we've just kind of learned like what this looks like and how to log in. We're not going to mess with that at any point in time.
Nicole, my question actually was, are we going to keep using Google Classroom if they go back to school? So if they went back in October for 3 months and then we had to move back to remote, then would we use Google Classroom while they're in school?
That's a great question. I could absolutely see the teachers using that even like to track assignments and what they are using in person. Like just even how we have seen the supervised remote learning work at this point. So yes, I would say yes.
And they'll continue to use it with virtual learning on Fridays too, to kind of keep that fresh in their minds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for adding that piece into it. All right, any other questions? Okay. If a lot of parents choose to continue with remote learning, will the school keep the current learning model, not open up for in-person learning? That is a really great question to throw out there. And that truly is one of the reasons why we wanted to do this and why we will be putting out a survey. So we are meeting the needs of our families and what our community is wanting and needing. And so depending on what everything came back as would just be grounds for a great conversation of what is going to meet our needs. Is there a combination or what is that? Because again, like we can have our plans and what we're thinking is being wanted, but until we talk to our families, like we don't know. So I mean, we have a good idea, but at the same time, we need your feedback to help us make the best decision because we're all in this together and we need to meet your needs as well. All right. Oh, you have a question?
It's kind of a silly question, but one of my friends was on campus the other day to do something with testing, but she saw a post on the door about Picture Day on September 25th. How is that? Is there like a sign up for that? If your student is like 100% remote learning?
Yeah, there will be an opportunity to bring them in. I do feel like that date has changed. I'll have to double check with Ms. Jada and we can send out that update. But yes, like there would be like a time that you could come in and get the picture taken and then be able to leave. And so that will all be communicated out. But I really feel like that date has changed a little.
Okay.
So we'll update everybody on that, especially in Dragon Mail or something coming out this week.
Okay.
Hey, so this is Ms. Kay. I just wanted to chime in on the picture day thing. So I spoke with Skillman and they basically said that the only way to really have picture day is to have it when all the students are back in person. That way they're not overrun with people bringing like the remote students or like it's okay if like part of the population is making appointments with Skillman to have their students' picture taken. But they would prefer if we had most of the students on campus to take their pictures. If that answers your question. So depending on how things roll out, then we'll be able to solidify a picture day.
Thank you, Ms. Kay, for jumping in. I knew that had been a conversation and I had heard it in passing. So I'm glad that you had the details to fill in that I did not. Another question came in. Can you repeat the date that this change would start, please? We will be releasing that date on Friday. Again, we needed this information to come back and talk with our staff so we could put those plans in place. October 19th would be the latest that it would occur. So that date will be coming out on Friday. All right, well, I'll stay on for a few more minutes with Shannon. So any other questions that may come in, like feel free if you want to wait for a moment. We did get one more. Will my 5th grader need picked up promptly after school? We may have like staggered drop off and pickup, but other than that, they would be able, like students would be picked up within the time frame so we can get the school disinfected and ready for the next day. Is it mandatory for virtual students to have to go in person for the assessment testing? We really do want the virtual students to come in and do the testing. If you are uncomfortable with that occurring in the classroom in a small group scheduled with the teacher, we are able to accommodate students more in a one-on-one setting, even in the front conference room, so they're not entering the school building or exposed to any other students. So it is possible. However, keeping it as much in person as possible for the assessments increases the fidelity of the assessment and gives us truer data. And that's, again, we want to use this to be able to support every student. But if you are needing something different, please feel free to reach out to me or Mr. Bono and we can get something arranged for you.
One other question. I realize this is going to be recorded so I can watch it again. How do I access the this recorded town hall?
We will send it out in an email along with a link to the survey that we referenced tomorrow.
Okay.
So
Okay,
it'll
thank
come
you.
through like Dragon Mail does.
Okay.
Nicole,
Yes.
I have a little bit of question about since my son does have the sensory issues about wearing the mask, and a lot of anxiety and all of that with it. Since the in-person for the assessment has to be basically be done in person, is there any way for him to like do it outside or something more creative so he's not wearing the mask, or he can wear his face shield?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we can make arrangements for those situations. Absolutely. So yeah, feel free to, I would recommend contacting Mr. Bono and he can get that scheduled for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. Let me just follow up on that. Right. We can definitely work one-on-one for situations like that. Just give me a call here at the school. We'll arrange it. We'll talk about this, how that would look, and then we could go forward from there for sure.
I just want to thank all of you for being so amazing and supportive through all of this from the beginning of the year to now. It has been absolutely amazing. I appreciate your understanding, being flexible. Again, I honor the fact that none of this is easy as a family to navigate and to make sure like your kid is getting everything that they need and that you're able to work or make your life happen. And everybody's situation is different, but very impressed and feel extremely fortunate to be a part of this community. And it's the families that have made it and the staff, like it's incredible. So I have no doubt that whatever this year brings, that we will conquer it amazingly and we will come out on top and we will have a year to be proud of. So thank you for everything that you guys are doing and all the support that you have provided. And again, like we'll stay on a little bit longer. So if you still have some lingering questions, please feel free to ask. You can always email us or call. Like, we'll do whatever we can to stay connected to you. And then definitely look for an email tomorrow and then another one on Friday. So one last question came in. Does anyone have children learning English as a second language? I wasn't quite sure if that was coming to the large group or like to parents. We do have programs in place here at AAK to support English as a second language. So yes, that does occur. But again, I couldn't quite tell if hopefully I answered that question.
All right. I am going to stop the recording and then we can stay on for a little bit longer.